Heavy snow and ice have hit North America. A massive winter storm continues to move across the country, battering the northeastern states overnight and moving up into Canada. At least 14 people are reported to have died. 40% of America's population are now under weather warnings. The National Weather Service says dangerously cold winds and heavy snowfalls of nearly half a metre are expected as the bad weather is sweeping.
Reportedly, there were more than 560,000 power outages in the nation. Most of them were in the south, where blasts of freezing rain caused power lines to snap, inflicting crippling outages.
Winterstorm Fern, the monster system that ravaged much of the U.S. with ice, snow, and deadly cold, has pushed its Arctic blast deep into Florida, bringing record lows, rare snow flurries, and life-threatening conditions even in the subtropics. While the state escaped the catastrophic ice that crippled the south and heavy snow that buried the northeast, the extreme chill, sub-freezing across the north and teens in the panhandle, has stunned wildlife, threatened agriculture, and contributed to the nationwide crisis.
On We on Wide Angle this week. Look at this satellite image that captured the winter storm's progress across the United States on the 24th of January. A major winter storm blanketed the United States with heavy snow and ice, threatening nearly 180 million Americans from the southeast to New England.
Over 200 lives are lost across the country from hypothermia, carbon monoxide poisoning, crashes on icy roads, and falling trees, with Florida's rare freeze adding to the shock.
All right, we're getting us another patch of snow blowing in here. Hopefully y'all can see it against the dark backdrop of the trees over there. It keeps coming and going. Hopefully it'll get steady here for a while and we can enjoy it for just a little bit. Occasionally some really large flakes falling down in this. In case y'all missed it, this is Florida, January the 31st, 2026. We're about 30 minutes east of Tallahassee.
Unbelievable scenes in the Tampa Bay region as rare snow flurries dusted streets and rooftops, a phenomenon almost unheard of in Central Florida amid Fern's Arctic plunge.
Much of the eastern United States has been paralyzed by the winter storm, causing at least 30 deaths and calling off thousands of flights. From the de-icing of aircraft during a monster storm, to a house getting engulfed in flames in Oklahoma, to emergency services across the nation. This is the story of frozen America.
We haven't gotten this since we moved.
Years and years. The last time I remember it snowing like this was like 11 years ago, maybe 2015 or so. But I mean, this is the first big storm we've had this year, so it's fine.
Yeah, we still get snow. We get snow somewhat often in the winter, but it's never been this bad. Inches.
Temperatures dropping into the 30s and lower cause iguanas to freeze and fall from trees in places like Miami and Fort Lauderdale, littering sidewalks in surreal displays of the storm's reach.
It is raining iguanas.
Anything like it. Jessica, tell us what is happening. Why are these iguanas frozen?
Right, of course iguanas are cold-blooded animals, so as soon as it gets to freezing, we end up having iguanas fall out the trees here in South Florida.
Okay, and like I said, you've picked up hundreds of pounds worth just this morning. You told me you started at 4. What do you do with them after you pick up all of these all around the city?
Well, of course, we contact our Trinidadian friends and all the people that like to eat iguanas. So a lot of different cultures eat iguanas, and they eat the eggs, and they eat the legs, and they eat the tail. So this is easy snacks falling out the trees this morning.
Okay, and I know that you did tell me that before, and I was surprised because I said, is that inhumane? But tell us about the reasons why that's acceptable.
Right, so iguanas are an invasive species here in South Florida, just like the pythons, the parrots, and other animals that damage our native environment. And so we are not allowed to relocate these animals. Some people try to heat them up and let them back go.
Farmers in citrus and fern growing areas anxiously watched as frost coated crops, with potential major losses after protective measures like water sprays failed against the prolonged cold. In Orlando and Winter Park, light snow mixed with freezing rain turned roads slick, catching drivers off guard in a state that is more accustomed to hurricanes and Arctic air. Cold-stunned reptiles became a bizarre symbol of Fern's impact, with iguanas dropping from perches and pythons similarly affected in the Everglades region.
The iguanas literally can't chill out in this weather.
They'll fall out of trees. They'll end up in areas where cars are, parking lots. You'll see them in a lot of areas where they're cold stunned.
They appear dead, but they're not.
If it's just for a day or two, they will just get to where they're completely frozen in time. They're still able to breathe. They're still able to do bodily functions, just very slow.
Some are sunbathing to warm up, and locals can help by removing any seen in the road and placing them in the sun. Not doing so could mean life or death. If temps dip below 45 degrees for more than 2 days, experts say they can die from pneumonia, proving reptiles may have a thick skin, but not one that protects.
The Panhandle saw the deepest chill, with lows in the teens leading to burst pipes, frozen vegetation, and emergency calls spiking for weather-related issues.
Some of the heaviest snowfall, up to 1 foot or more, was seen in parts of Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania. Forecasters said snow, sleet, and freezing rain, accompanied by dangerously frigid temperatures, would sweep the eastern two-thirds of the nation. The U.S. National Weather Service warned of an unusually expansive and long-duration winter storm that will bring widespread heavy ice accumulation in the southeast U.S. and cited crippling to locally catastrophic impacts. Reportedly, more than 850,000 U.S. residents were without electricity, and with at least 290,000 in Tennessee and over 100,000 each in Mississippi, Texas, and Louisiana. Other states affected included Kentucky, Georgia, Virginia, and Alabama.
Northern Florida especially witnessed a storm's edge with flurries and ice pellets during Winter Storm Fern's Arctic surge in late January 2026. Creating hazardous conditions on bridges and overpasses rarely prepared for such weather, where slick surfaces led to increased slip risks and cautious driving amid unusual wintry mix.
Oh my God, it's so wild.
Gardens and farms across the state transformed overnight under the record cold snap, with frost damage to tropical plants showing how far south Fern's cold penetrated, affecting sensitive vegetation as far as central and southern regions with potential long-term impacts.
I mean, it is legit coming down. So cool. Look at this. I mean, I am all about the sunshine, but this is really cool.
Streets in Orlando glisten with frost as the city experienced lows not seen in decades during the January 2026 freeze, with residents bundled up against biting cold, while increased heating demand strained local power grids and raised concerns for vulnerable populations.
Widespread travel disruption with thousands of flights cancelled. Across the country, nearly 1 million households have lost power. Those power lines you can see right here, they've been knocked out in the state of Tennessee, which along with Texas, Mississippi and Louisiana was among the worst hit. But 140 million people all the way up to Canada are in the storm's path. This is Toronto at the moment. Residents in Canada's largest city urged to stay indoors. The city's Pearson Airport saw a record-breaking 46 centimetres of snowfall on Sunday. At least 23 US states declaring emergencies, including New York. The state governor warned people to stay inside.
Citrus growers sprayed trees desperately with irrigation systems to form protective ice layers. But the sustained freeze from Fern threatened significant losses in an industry vital to Florida's economy, with farmers in Polk and Lake County still assessing crop damage days later. Floridians documented the unusual snow-like conditions across Tampa Bay and northern areas, with children playing in light flurries for a rare treat, while elders warn of hypothermia risks in unprepared homes lacking adequate insulation or heating for prolonged sub-freezing nights.
Morning, you can see people are out and about. It is cold. There's a lot of snow, but it's a picture postcard here in Central Park. New York City hasn't seen snowfall like this in several years, so you can be sure the sledders will be out in force today too. But this is also a very serious storm, as you mentioned. By some counts, the death toll is now more than a dozen blamed on this slow-moving storm that has affected more than 180 million people over the course of the last few days.
Beyond iguanas, other non-native species like pythons and exotic reptiles are suffering from the cold stun in South Florida, straining the ecological ripple effects of this rare Arctic intrusion into the subtropics, where invasive populations continue to face temporary population reductions from the freeze.
All right, Monday, February 2nd, 2026, day after the second big freeze night. It's 45 degrees at 11:30 in the morning, and the front yard's looking pretty good. Doesn't look like anything really bad happened here, except for some plant burn.
Tropical foliage wilted under the frost, with homeowners assessing damage to palms and exotic plants not built for such extremes.
These Xoras are done. Even the bougainvillea hedge is burned up pretty badly. Side of the house looks fine. Ponytail's great. Queen palms are great. Sea grapes all look fine. The monsteras.
In the Panhandle, burst pipes and frozen infrastructure added to the chaos as the storm's cold front pushed farther south than expected.
This is kind of cool. Kind of scary, but cool.
Florida's brush with Fern adds to the national tragedy. Over 200 dead nationwide, millions affected. Stay vigilant, protect vulnerable residents, and prepare for lingering cold because this is about to get much longer than it appears. If you found this video insightful, kindly subscribe to this channel and spread the word.